When you guys think of sport tennis, I mean, the first person that probably comes to mind is, of course, probably Serena Williams. I don't know if you guys know who Serena Williams is. She's actually ranked #1 in women's professional tennis. She's actually a singles player. While I played tennis, I actually looked up to her because she was a really, really good tennis player. But playing tennis in high school for 3 years actually makes it incredible to speak about the sport and the culture it represents with the racket. This is my racket, but my sister stole my racket. So I actually had a pretty one, it was blue. But by learning about the racket, you guys actually get a little bit more of an idea of the background with tennis and the racket, how it basically, you need it to play sport. First I'll talk about the racket and the representation it has towards the culture. Then I will go on to identify myself and how I represent with the culture. The tennis racket is actually one of the main symbols of tennis racket and tennis ball. When you get a tennis racket, it's always good to get the perfect grip to your hand because rackets come in different sizes, they come in different weights too. You don't ever want nothing too light or, well, I mean, it kind of just depends on you. Personally, I don't like a light racket because I just feel that with the motion of the ball, you know, you get more of a reaction towards it. When in case you have something a little bit more heavier, I feel like you get more control. So it's always good to just get like a particular racket to how you want to play. Tennis was actually invented by an Englishman that went by the name Mayer Walter C. Wingfield. He actually started to play tennis in a grass field, which it kind of changed over time. Before it was a grass field, now it's kind of more concrete. The courts back then were kind of more hourglass shaped, which is kind of a little bit different than how they are now, only because now it's just, they're all the same size from rectangle shape practically, but it's all one size, not hourglass. But back then the courts were actually wider at the baselines, which were at the end of the court, and a little bit more narrow towards the net, which is kind of a little weird. So tennis is actually a really kind of confusing game to play. I mean, it took me a while to actually learn the concept and how to play it, because it actually goes off based off of 6 points. But in order to reach 1 point, you have to get 4 points. So I don't know if that makes sense. And it goes by, it's a little bit different because it goes by love, 15, 30, 40, which love meaning 0, 15, 1, and so on. So once you reach to 1 point, then you reach up to the 1 point to get up to 6. So whoever gets up to 6 first actually is the one who wins. I just identified how the racket represents tennis culture and a little bit more of the background. Now I'm actually going to go into how I identify with the culture. Like I said, I played tennis for 3 years in high school. I started off as a freshman. I never really wanted to play the sport tennis because I personally thought, I was like, you know, I don't want to play tennis. No one plays tennis. Like, I don't know anyone who plays tennis. But my sister was the one that actually forced me to play a sport since she was varsity captain. Of course, I have to listen to my older sister. So I went in, you know, not knowing how to play. I mean, I played a little bit, but I never really thought anything of it practically. But I went in, you know, just playing, practicing. It was summer practice. So then after that, I actually realized that I was kind of like good at the sport, so it made me kind of more excited. I was like, hey, you know, like I'm kind of good at this. So I continued to play. Sophomore year, they actually moved me up to varsity, which I was really excited about. I played singles, but unfortunately I couldn't play singles then because the seniors were all, those were their spots. So I went into doubles because you can play singles or with the partner. I went into doubles, which was really fun because you get to, you know, you have to learn how to communicate with the other person, because if one messes up, if you don't tell them, you know, like, well, hey, I got this, like, then the other person's gonna get confused. That happened to me once during the game. I actually never told my partner that I was gonna get the ball, so she went for it and I went for it. We both collided. She flew on the floor, and yeah, it was crazy. after playing tennis, I actually love the sport. I mean, I actually left the sport tennis my junior year, which I kind of regret. I went to, join different things. I went to go look at different stuff. But I actually returned my senior year because I realized I really love the sport and it's something that I was actually really passionate about. Because, with the sport, I feel personally that you get a sense of, to relieve stress practically on the court. Because you're kind of more on your own, you just dependent, you don't really have to, it depends if you play singles or doubles. I personally love to play singles, so I feel I'm just more on my own, doing what I want to do, and it helps me kind of relieve stress with the motion of the ball and stuff. So in conclusion, now you guys have a better understanding of the tennis racket and how it actually represents the sport culture. First I discussed the racket and then the background, a little bit more of the background and the specific types of rackets. And then I actually informed you of my experience and my connection with the culture. Tennis is a well-known sport all around the world. Everyone all around the world knows the sport tennis. You guys should all, give it a shot, because I didn't at first. But once I did, I actually fell in love with the sport, and it's really fun to play. It's a stress reliever, so yeah, you guys should play tennis. Thank you.